This is John Dollar of Prayer Builders. We are in 2 Thessalonians. We are up to verse 2. Yesterday we read verse 1. Let's read them both. They both go together. You know, this book has been hard for me to teach verse by verse because some sentences last for 5 verses. and it's like I've got to keep overlapping the teaching from the verses, and then I want to just go boom, 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 and just cover one verse and no more. But it's hard. So let's read this. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together with him, we ask you. Now, I'm reading this in the New King James. He says, to not be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ had come. Now, right here, I just want to say this again. I had read this at the end of yesterday. I read this back in John chapter 14. I'm going to read it again. Jesus said, and I'm just going to read the first verse. Yesterday we read this in John chapter 14, verses 1 through 4. He's talking about the rapture of the church. But then he starts off when he's talking about just before he talks about the rapture of the church, he says, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. Okay, so no matter what's going on in life, no matter what we're facing, Jesus said, let not your heart be troubled. Why? That he told us the reasons why, because he said in the next couple of verses, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I wouldn't have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and then I will come receive you to myself, that where I am, you may be there also. That's all the rapture. And he said, let not your heart be troubled. Well, right here, he is saying concerning the coming of our Lord, back in 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 1, he says, concerning the coming of our Lord and the gathering of ourselves together. Well, let's just paraphrase that and say, now, brethren, concerning the rapture, because that's what that's all referring to, is the rapture. I'm just going to say it in one word to simplify it. Now, brethren, concerning the rapture, we ask you to not be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us. So here's what happened. They had been tempted to be shaken. They had been tempted to be shaken concerning the coming of the Lord. And they had actually, Paul said right here, he says, do not be shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us. That would imply forgery. A letter circulating through this church that was forged in the Apostle Paul's name. And he said, don't let what people say disrupt you. He said, concerning the rapture, do not let what people say and their words affect you, or anything by spirit, or anything that you read, letters, even if it's appearing to be from us. He said, do not let any of this affect you. And then it says, as though the day of Christ had come. Now this implies that whatever that was circulating was implying that the rapture had already taken place. They were all of a sudden just going nuts, and they were losing it. And you're going to find out why when we come in the next couple of verses. Well, not the next couple of verses. It actually gets up to, because see, Paul had actually, I mean, what's so powerful about this? They were getting the rug like jerked out from underneath them, because Paul had originally taught them about this rapture. It was actually back in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, but not only there, he had actually taught them those things when he was there and he founded the church in a 3-week period. The coming of the Lord and the rapture of the church were both foundational doctrines to the Apostle Paul. He was teaching these things to a 3-week-old church. He was teaching these were, and what is wrong with this picture? Right now we got people that won't even teach it. There's people that have learned things about the end time events. There's pastors that learn about it. They won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. They don't want to teach about the second coming. They don't want to teach about the rapture. They don't want to teach about any of this. But they're saying, oh, I'm a Pauline type of Christian. I'm all into this grace. Hey, I want to tell you something. If you would have been in one of Paul's church plants in the first 2 or 3 weeks, you would have been well taught in the second coming and the rapture of the church. That's what they had. And he said that. He actually said that in verse 5. He actually says, do you not remember when I was still with you, I told you these things. He was, in those first 3 weeks, they weren't learning how to set up a donut shop and a coffee cafe. They were learning about the Antichrist. They were learning about the rapture of the church. They were learning about the second coming. They learned about end time events. They were part of his core doctrine. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this up to you. But he said, do not be shaken as though the day of the Lord had come. They were saying, there was something circulating saying, well, the rapture has already happened and the day of the Lord is already here. It's already begun. And then that's what right now, what Paul's going to get into is going to explain that is not the case. It hasn't happened, and there's certain things that have to happen before that happens. So anyway, I hope this has been a blessing to you right now. I want to encourage you, keep tuning in if you have interest in these end time events, because the next few days are going to get really good. I hope this helped, and I hope it was a blessing to you, and do not be in anxiety. I'm telling you, if you're a believer, I'll tell you what, no matter what you see taking place, Jesus is coming back.